Hello and welcome back to another episode of the series in Transport Fever 2, building it nicely, beautifully. I don't know how it is called in English. In German it's Schönbau. Well, this is the second part of the Forgotten Areas, as I mentioned the last time, and I want to show you what I had built in the meantime, but what I have forgotten to show you. And besides that, I have still some sections which are not finished yet. So like this one here as an example. So we are in our three valley area. Oh, no, this is our, no, it's called the, it's three valleys. Three whatever. Because we have a large valley and there we have mills. Yes, it's the 3 Mill Valley, so that's the correct name. And there we have a little collection of houses, or a small collection of houses at the mountainside, which was not finished until now. So now taking you on a nice journey of building and construction and create a small scenery here at the mountain. So first I placed some roads to make it accessible for the living people, and now it's required to have some stairs because the door was a little bit too high, and I thought that placing some trees would be a pretty good idea to have it or to make it look nicely. And now we need to add some assets like cars and stuff and so on. Oh, see here, we used a nice texture, place a tractor on it, one of Biko's 90s cars. I think they fit the scenery pretty well. Okay, a small cart, and now here's some pigs, which are part of the farmer mod being available in the workshop. Usually they are very large as the car is, but luckily you can resize them so they are okay. And in reality, I already saw such big pigs, and they are large as a cow sometimes. Okay, that is large as a cow is said a bit too much, but they are very, very large. So those pigs are okay. So now we have a little shed here, and maybe some barrels or whatever might fit the scenery. And I think we're done here. Now we move way back on our map to the very beginning, and this is really the edge of the map in the south, and there is an AI city, as you can see, and there was a unused area, so I created a construction site on it, because I thought, why leaving it blank? So I added the construction fence and some vehicles like those caterpillars, dredgers, and so on. And I think now it looks pretty good. Some scaffoldings, crane, it's okay. So this is the area with our grain, food plant, whatever. And in the back you can see the farm. And under the bridge I added some assets like the tractor and the cart, both being available in the farmer mod in the workshop. And since we have some more grass and plant textures, I use them to add some better look to the scenery. Also the old tower and the harvester, both parts of Ingo's and the farmer mod. And I added here a little building and a car crash. Biko's cars, the police car and the other cars, and see it's smoking, so there was a pretty heavy crash, obviously. A truck is passing by very quickly, doesn't matter if someone stands there. So this car broke down, this is why the service car is here, and here the tractor was already placed. I added another one and 3 people to liven up the whole thing a little bit. This corner here was prepared all the time, but there was no scenery, there was no garden, there were only a few houses. Now this is finished. As you see, it looks pretty fine, although those garages seem to flow. I need to correct that. Also here, this place was blank. Now I added some texture to it, some assets, figures, and we have a little area for our locomotions. So see in the backyard, or in the back, there is the area for the train, or there's the train layup, and the city and the large valley in the back. we have some bushes here along the tracks, and maybe we could add some more weed to it, but I saw many parts when you go outside and have a look, which are just with lawn without any weed. Here we had a very ugly tunnel portal, and I never had the idea how to fix that and how to make it look better. But now Ingo released, in the meantime, a nice package which contains such plates. And I added a grass plate on that and used the mod box to create a very nice tunnel portal. And as you see, that's the other side of the tunnel, which is still unfinished. The houses on the left and the right side. And there we have another episode with constructing this area. This is the city, with millions of pedestrian crossings. Since that was a very dead zombie city, I added some buildings and visitor magnets, and now there is way more traffic than it was before, and I added some textures to the ground because everything was still green, and now the city is growing, not only in the height, but also in the width and in the depth, and in which direction soever. When we go back to the mountains, we have the little village of Aselfing in the back, and I added some more cornfields and vegetation and weed and so on. So that area also is growing and looking better and better. And here we had a coal and iron ore mine, both in one. So that was great, but what was missing was building, facility and parking lot and so on. Now we have that maintenance building, office building, and we have a parking lot for the workers and for the trucks. And it's still not very nice, but it's better than nothing, and this area is growing as well. Yeah, at the city of Neumarkt we have that little lake. I upgraded the sand a little bit by mixing some textures, and you see it looks like the sand is below the water and the sand is a bit rippled, and I added some beach girls and guys, beach boys and beach girls. You can see them standing there. They are without any animation, and there is also a swimmer. And this, I think, those are part of the beach mod set, whatever, in the Steam Workshop. I'm not sure, but I think. And as you see here, those are the standard figures, but these two here, they are static ones, are the beach boy and the beach girl, and they fit very nicely into the scenery. Also, these two beach volleyball players, they are static, no animation, but nevertheless they are very good looking in my point of view, in my opinion, and so I use them. When we move further, then we have our valley here, and there was a sawmill at the bottom of the mountain, and two lines on top, and those lines were just were running along the mountain and were looking pretty boring. So did the sawmill. So I upgraded the sawmill a bit, added more assets, and added a truck terminal as well. So now a truck and a tractor line are driving here, picking up the wood which is delivered to the mill, and the planks, and they're carrying away the planks. That's more important, because wood is brought to the mill, delivered by train, and then it's transferred into planks. So yeah, this is what's currently going on the sawmill. You see a water tower, a wooden water tower added. This is part of Ingo's asset set. Then the wooden house is part of a Russian set in the container as well. And here a little loading scenery. So our little sawmill is growing bigger and getting more alive. On the other side of the tracks, there were two buildings already, and in between it was pretty boring. So I added a little field, nothing special, but now it looks better. And as I mentioned before, the lines here, I added a brickstone wall and a wooden wall and so on. This is what I want to do now in the next time, to create more mountainous lines with walls and nicely built bridges and tunnel portals and so on. It's getting pretty interesting. Here along the track we have a vineyard and 2 old, let's say, guard towers or whatever, and the wall. This is something you can see at the Rhine in Germany. Also the wooden sheet there saying a Schlossberg. That's the castle mountain. And yeah, some people here, and a little what is it called? Winery. Let's say the factory which produces the wine. And yeah, I think it's pretty nicely looking, especially when you follow the train passing that vineyard. Then we had our small train here. It passes a mine, which is for clay. So we have a clay mine here, and there was a water plate on top before, because I simulated a lake. That was pretty ugly. I removed it and changed the little tunnel by adding one of Ingo's plates on top of it. This is the green one, and some elements of the mod box. And now we have a nicely looking portal for our clay mine. And in the backyard, you see Henkelfeld Station. So here I added a little, what is it? It's no factory, but it's something which receives planks, and yeah, it's an operational whatever, and planks are delivered to it, and trucks come and pick them up and carry them away. I know there's a lot of wood and many planks, but since we have a very nicely country based map, wood is our main stock or our product we have here, besides coal maybe. Oh, this is how it looks from this side. And here, when entering the station, there we see our plank train. I added another building to it, so it's just pretty nice now. Okay, here we have a gardening, I don't know the word for it, unfortunately. And this is something I got from the Steam workshop. It's a gardening, I think it's called, and 2 Swiss houses. The texture of the gardening is not the very best, as you see here. It looks very mossy and pretty ugly. But nevertheless, it's a ready-made building, and so I was able to quickly create a mini scenery here by adding that gardening asset to this section, because it was a pretty blank area in my point of view. There was nothing, only a large area of green. I want to keep areas green and without planting trees on it and so on, but this one was very large and pretty boring looking. So this is why we have this gardener here. And as you see, small details, people looking at the plants and picking some for taking away, and that's the yard with a playground and so on. Besides, or next to it, a Swiss house with a swimming pool. Not many details here, only a few, because since this is in a part of the map I really rarely visit, so I didn't want to add so many details to it. Yeah, this is what I missed, and I had built a long time ago already. This is our dairy plant, or dairy. It's called Molkerei Landherz. No? So this is very, very nice, and it's ready-made. And here you can see the trucks, and with the mod box I created kind of terminal where the trucks can be parked to be unloaded. Maybe I will add some more pipes to it, but I think it's already looking pretty nicely. I built that from a real existing dairy, so it looks like the one I found on the picture, and I used those very, very nice trucks from the Modwerkstatt. Unfortunately, they are not available as placeable assets, so I needed to use the asset builder mod, and from there you can pick the trucks, but then they have glowing lights, and when you pick a train it's smoking and making noises and so on. That's pretty bad, but it's even worse. Well, it's not worse, but it's a pity that that these trucks are not available as pure assets. So you see, I use the vanilla buildings, era B ones, to stick them together to have this nice dairy. And here, some very, very tiny sceneries, like the one they are cleaning the top of the truck, and another guy talking to the truck driver, which is not visible at the moment. Here's another one, having a look at the workers' parking lot. And in the background you see our quarry. Well, this is something I showed in an earlier episode already. So now we entered one of the milk trucks, and we're leaving a farm loaded with milk. And on the right hand side we see also a little whatever operation with a nice shed of Peugeot Racer. And as we drive up the mountain, you see that there's a fox, that I added some road signs to it already, and stuff like that. Bushes and the guardrail and so on. Now we're passing the bridge. Oh, and there's a guardrail sticking into the ground. Ooh, that needs to be removed, otherwise we have an ugly crash here. Okay. Some bushes on the road. Yeah, I think it's looking pretty realistic with the signs. And the rest is also pretty good. In the meantime, the right-hand side doesn't look like it looks here in the movie anymore, because I added some more trees, and I added many more trees to the mountains to make that gray disappear a little bit, because it was too much stone and rock, in my opinion. So now with high speed, we break down to 0 and enter our dairy, and to the right, we're following that little street around that complex here. Although it says 20, we drive 40 or 50. Why not? Truck driver doesn't care. He needs to hurry, because otherwise the milk is starting to rot, maybe. So here's a hidden truck station or bus station. So it stops. And now if we move way back into the uppermost part of the map, that's the end of the map, we see a little village, and on top of the village there is a small castle. I think I showed that already, or at least I mentioned it and never showed it in detail, I'm not sure. Now let's have a look at this one. So you see, this is an old castle, and in the meantime it was transferred into a restaurant and some shops. Here we have an old building which led into the mountain for getting rocks out of it and diamonds maybe, and now they're just storing their goods here, like expensive wines and cheese and so on, to keep them cool. A parking lot for the visitors, pure gravel, no big deal. And this is all a combination of vanilla buildings and Joffried's modbox and assets from SM Mines and whoever. Now having a view into the inner yard. And we see some shops at the left and in the background, and a nice old well. And in the corner we have a small restaurant with very good dishes. Here people are looking to the well, others into the farm store, or what it is called, and this is our little or very small restaurant. And even here, as I mentioned before already, I add details and stuff into my sceneries, although never will ever see them, like here. When we cross, or when we move into the back of the small garden of the restaurant, you see here a little shed and a hut, and some spare furniture, beer barrels and so on. Because I like it. Never everyone sees that, but I like it to have details hidden here. Here also you see the horse is coming out of the building, and in the background, and if you entered the building, you see some sacks and barrels. And these are Peugeot Racers buildings, butchery and bakery, and I added Mad Hatter's doors to it, so it looks like a farm building. Yeah, our farm stores in the background. Very cozy. And again here, behind the building, we have that large wall, but you see here coaches, tractor, and so on. And we have a farmer and some horses and hay and so on. And I love those little details, although maybe never everyone or never someone sees them, including me. Then we have a footpath going way down into the valley, into the village, and this is very adventurous. As you see here, it goes up and down and having curves and a old wooden fence. Not very trustworthy, but this is a very nice walk. And look at that view! It's fantastic. Here we have a nice view across the valley, and we see the bridges, and it's very nice. We have little ponds here, small lakes, and it looks like people who enjoy the view and who brought their bags with them. Now you might ask, why did they bring their bags? But if we go a little bit deeper, we see some climbers. That's not officially allowed here, but no one comes and says, oh, not here, please go away. So this is why they climb here. And if we follow that path into the other direction, we see some cornfields and the little village at the bottom of that very, very nice, cozy valley here. A view from that little bridge, and we see the train passing by, entering the village in the background. Yeah, if you go back to our little village at the ski lift, at the bottom of the ski lift, I added some more buildings. Now, if we go down here and have a look what I created. So this is a little shop, for a tool shop, so where you get everything for your home, like stones and pipes and tools and things you need to construct and build your house. So this is a very small one along the tracks, and you see here people having a look of the offered on the offered goods. The backside, or where the train passes, are used to detail the backsides also by adding some grasses, bushes, and some assets. So it even looks good when driving with the train and having a look at the back of the buildings. So next to it we have a caravan cellar. This is a very old one. The caravans are also very old, and it's like little shops in very little villages selling computer stuff in boxes from 1991, bleached by the light, and prices around $100 or pounds. No one wants to use it anymore because very, very obsolete and old, but nevertheless they try to sell it. This is with the caravan Shosh as well. Next to him is a small graveyard cellar, gravestone cellar. The one here creates those gravestones and sells them, and they are also very old, but nevertheless sometimes people come and buy them. You see, he doesn't make that much money, obviously, because he has a very small house along the track. But it's fine. He has a little table and stair and chair at the backside, so he can look at the train passing by. So this is an old, what is it, car cellar or something like that, and a little gas station. And they stopped doing their work many years ago already. So the little workshop is closed now, and nothing happens there anymore. This is why a fence is added to that, and some grasses and bushes. Now here is a dead end. Next to it you see the foundation of a former building. it's lost. This is a lost place, overgrown. Nothing goes on anymore, but besides that, there's a container service. They're still having 2 trucks and a little caterpillar, and they are still on duty. But you see the building's also very old, and there are bushes at the backside and so on. But nevertheless, they still have work to do. On the other side of the track, there is a storage building and a storage yard. So nothing special here, no big details, only some stuff standing around and waiting to rot away, or at least taken away. Now, lifting our view upwards, there we see that there is a little area I showed sometimes already, and those are the tractor workers. They repair old tractors because the people there are 300 years of age already, and they still know how those old tractors work. They can't repair tractors with computers in and displays, but the old ones, they still can fix using a wrench, and then 10 minutes of work and it's done. Bridges, as I mentioned before, now I try to build very nicely looking, large, huge and experimental bridges like this one, and I'm really looking forward to that, for seeing trains driving on that and so on. And here's a special building, and I will show you the construction of the building and the yard next time. That's it for today, and please come back again to me when I say Transport Fever 2 Building in Details. Have a nice day. See you the next time. Goodbye.